loves each other. You know, how do you love someone who roots for the other team? But it's a metaphor, you know, it's a metaphor for how do you love someone who's not like you? And how do you resolve those conflicts in real time? Right?
I've done that.
You've done that too. We're all doing that every day. So are you ready?
Yeah, a lot of people haven't joined back yet, but
All right, we gotta wait for everybody. Can't now go without anybody.
I know. Now that we've assigned all the
One of
roles.
the things that's really been fun for me in this conversation is to
Reading.
really explore who Babe Ruth was, how this monumental decision was made to sell him.
Rest of my cabinets right now as well.
Really the fandom of the Red Sox, how unrelenting they are to want their team to win, and when they did,
Sleep. I let you sleep. I know, yeah,
you know, the curse was broken. So, how many do we have back now?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, we got, is Marina there?
Marina is not.
Okay, we gotta wait for Marina.
I'll let you know how it went. Okay, bye.
Okay, so we're gonna start, is Marina there?
Not yet.
So imagine this in its first incarnation as a play. Okay, that's kind of the setting that we want you to think of. Although it's written as a screenplay, imagine, you know, there's a backdrop of Fenway Park at one point, there's a bedroom at another point. Because I think that's what we really want to start with. We think that's an easier way to get the stage and get the feedback from an audience. So that's just kind of something to think about. One of the people supporting me in this project is a producer from Broadway. She produced one, I think 21 Tonys. So she's kind of going to be advising us from that standpoint. How many people do we have now?
Total of 7. I think we had 12 before, so we're missing 5 people.
Okay, all right. Well, I think we should start.
Okay,
Nick, go ahead.
where do we want to set the computer up?
Somewhere that Nick, you, the three of you could be heard.
Probably where this one is, faced it like camera looking out. this
Maybe
way.
the two of you should sit closer to each other, Paxton and.
Should I sit either
yeah,
over there?
if you want to
Or
switch
do you
in
want
with
to swap?
Paxton
You can sit next to your lovely husband.
here, that's a good idea. And Nick, you're here. And everyone really speak loudly in your roles, because you're not gonna be able to be heard. We'll try our best to give you the cameras, but project your best voice. Shay, are you there? Shay, are you there? No, we're missing our youngest.
No, he's here.
Me and my Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm here.
You're gonna play all the young kids,
Okay,
not just Danny. All in the first couple scenes, you're gonna play all the kids. Just to have different voices, so you can say that Danny's a little squeaky, or you know.
Okay.
All right,
so just like the boys in the outfield and bench and the boy
exactly, yeah, yeah.
and, okay,
Yeah, and you're and our youngest actor is gonna be playing Babe Ruth at the end. So the moral of the story will be revealed at that time. Okay, I think we're ready. Do we have Marina yet? All right.
We do not.
We do not. Okay, let me call her. Adrian, if you, or you could call her, Adrian, if you don't mind, just want to get her back on. Because now we are recording. Yes. Good job on the recording. Yeah, good job. I love that. Yeah, that is good. Whoever suggested that. Brownie points. I think he's perfect there.
We'll figure it.
I
I don't think they'll. be able to
Okay.
hear.
Wants to read. Out on, out boom.
Okay.
You have a role. All right, you're gonna play any woman that's been decided yet, huh? So there are other women. I can't think of who they are right now. Oh, let's do this. Okay, I think we're ready to go, everyone. Is Marina there?
She is on her way.
Okay, good.
She's in the waiting.
She's in the waiting room. Okay, yeah, let her in. So Nick and Sophia, this screenplay was written 20 years ago. And we've been rewriting it ever since, and now we're ready to make a film. But first, there'll be a stage play. So just imagine you're in stage listening to this story, and we'll need your feedback at the end, all right? All right, Nick,
Let's do it.
Start us off. Let's go.
All right, we're in Charleston, Mass, in a ballpark in the afternoon. It's 1978. A batter spits on his hand and cocks his bat. On the mound, Laura, also 12, with braids and braces, winds up to pitch.
Do what? Am I speaking for all the, I'm so sorry. Am I speaking for
Yeah.
all the boys? Okay.
Yes, all the boys.
And the teammates?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sorry. Okay. Hey, batter. Hey, batter. We want a pitcher, not a belly itcher.
Laura's parents, Siobhan and Frank, watch nervously from the sidelines. Her brother Danny is brawling with a kid nearby and lands on top of him.
Say it. She pitches great. Say it. Let me up.
Slow motion, the bat hits the ball. Ball hurls back towards Laura, hits her smack in the mouth. Back in the scene, she gets splayed backwards over the mound. Teammates rush in.
Cool. Look at all that blood. Are you okay?
Laura struggles to sit up. She tries to speak but can't open her mouth. She pulls on her lips, which are stuck to her braces. Blood trickles from her lips and teeth. The boys stare in awe. Siobhan's curly red hair flies around her head like a halo as she drags the father to the bench. The coach leads a bleeding Laura off the field.
Your father. Go ahead, Mark.
We haven't even paid off the braces.
Mother?
As long as she has her teeth, that's my gal.
Bloody hell, she's cursed.
At the team bench, Laura begs the coach to let her back in the game.
You got no one to pitch to Flanagan. You can't stop me. I'm going back in.
The coach lunges for her, catches hold of her uniform sleeve for a moment. Coach sees Siobhan mouthing and gesturing, let her play, and releases her sleeve. Laura grabs some ice cubes from a bucket on the bench and trots back to the mound triumphantly. Her father shakes his head. Siobhan proudly reassures Frank and sits back in her wheelchair. Apparently, she is not as healthy as she looks. The coach throws up his hands and looks to the heavens. With swollen lips and a blackening eye, Laura spits out a bloody ice cube and winds up the pitch. The batter swings at the air. Strike. She pitches again. Strike. Pitches again. Strike three, and that's the game. Laura's cheering teammates hoist her into the air, bloodied but unbound. We're at a ball field in New York City, summer 1986. Buddy, confident, athletic, good-looking, with curly brown hair, strides up to bat. He makes solid contact on the first pitch. The hit bounces off the grass in short left field towards the left fielder. Buddy, already wincing, sees the ball glance off the left fielder's glove as Buddy reaches first. He grits his teeth in pain as he rounds the base. Then he pulls up and shuffles back to first before the left fielder even has the ball. Left fielder turns to gun the ball back to the shortstop and is surprised to see Buddy back at first, rubbing his legs. First base coach yells at Buddy.
What the hell is that?
Buddy keeps his eye on the next few pitches. He's trying to concentrate but distracted by the pain in his legs. He can't hold back a wince. Next pitch is wild and Andy tells Buddy to go for second. Buddy hesitates and misses his opportunity. The coach signals a timeout and heads for first base on his way to the mound.
Buddy, FDR could have made second standing up. You kind of, what, you some kind of cripple? Do you think you're too good to run?
Coach,
Do you want to be out there or not?
Buddy silently shakes his head, tears well in his eyes. Coach calls for a pinch runner and Buddy walks slowly off the field. His teammates, baffled, clap cautiously. Buddy takes a seat next to his best friend and teammate Ben, a classic jock who tries to reassure him. Ben distractedly glances into the stands where a college scout sits.
Cheer up, slugger. With a swing like that, who needs a race around the bases? Forget college, man. You're going pro.
Buddy smiles, though both boys know it will never happen. We're in a hospital room at Mass General, October 2nd, 1978. All the relatives have gathered around Laura's dying mother. All eyes are glued to the TV. Laura, now 13, is at her mother's bedside, squeezed between adults as if held against her will. Laura pounds her hand into her baseball mitt repeatedly. The Red Sox are moments from winning the game. Bucky fucking Dent, the man who couldn't hit anything, comes to the plate and hits what looks like a pop fly, but as the wind carries it in slow motion, it miraculously gets over the green monster by a half an inch. New York ecstatic, Boston devastated. The reaction of every Donnelly in Boston watching it on TV, absolute silence. Brothers, cousins, uncles, even the family priest are stunned.
Mother of God, we're cursed.
Hospital later that same day, all the relatives have gone. Laura snuggles up to her mother in the institutional bed. She smiles and plays with the bed clicker, moving their knees up and down together.
Another story, a true story?
The truth is never pure and rarely simple, or is it rarely pure and never simple? Who says that?
Never pure. Oscar Wilde.
Laura's mom tells the following story with a slight Irish accent. We see it as a fairy tale told in black and white historical footage images.
Once upon a time, almost 100 years ago, there was a hero and a villain.
Footage of Harry Frazier making a deal with Babe Ruth.
Why does there always have to be a bad guy?
The hero is more valiant if he has something to fight against.
Is that why some doctors tell you you're going to die and some say you're not?
Maybe. It's more like baseball is more exciting if there is a good rivalry. Now, let me finish because the story is true.
Laura moves closer and stops playing with the bed.
Harry Frazee was the villain who sold our hero Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees in 1919. Babe was the greatest pitcher of all time.
Black and white historical footage of Babe Ruth hitting and pitching in the World Series in 1918. But he could pitch too, and when he played for Boston, the Sox won 3 World Series, 15, 16, and 18. Those dastardly Yankees have won so many championships, they don't even have enough fingers for all their rings. Red Sox, on the other hand, have not won a World Series since Babe Ruth was sold for $100,000, which in those days was like $1 billion. We should have won today, but the past historical footage of Red Sox errors in 75 to 78. Oops. I see, but the past has a way of catching up with us.
We still could win.
The villain also mortgaged Fenway Park, which was built on native burial grounds. Windows pop out all the time for no reason, and businesses are always going bust in Kenmore Square.
Out of business signs and deserted stores in Kenmore Square.
Mommy?
They suspected Babe Ruth had Black ancestors. This town was and always will be racist. Look at the busing situation.
Historical footage. Mothers from the inner city wave to their kids who board school buses in the early morning light. Protesters outside City Hall. Parents yell at PTA meetings. Blacks and whites play separately on the playground in the school year. Back to scene.
Mother?
Didn't you see that cop car? He just flew it over the wall. Babe Ruth's ghost. This is a curse and it's only just begun.
Siobhan is so animated that she jumps out of bed. Her IV and oximeter pull from her arm. She may be dying, but she is passionate. Alarms go off and nurses come running in. We're in a doctor's office in New York in 1986. Buddy sits between his mother, Doris, and his father, Harry, both well-dressed, sophisticated lawyers. The doctor, sitting at his desk, gets to the point.
It's called spinal muscular atrophy. Oh, you're, yeah, you can play that one.
Called spinal muscular atrophy.
Loss and shrinking of muscle.
First the motor neuron, then, yes, the muscles themselves.
But that's it.
Yeah, but that's it. This is the mother now. You're gonna play the mother. Go ahead, Tina. But that's it.
I think that's it.
Can't he exercise to compensate, lift weights?
Doctor clears his throat and stands up. He walks around his desk and sits right in front of the family.
We don't know a lot about the illness, but there is likely more to it.
Buddy looks bewildered, smaller and younger than he looked on the field.
In many cases, you see, the loss of function can extend to the lungs. We don't know why some patients lose respiratory function and why others don't.
But for those that do,
They die. Oh, sorry.
for those who do,
They die.
Funny.
What? You can't breathe, you die.
The doctor shrugs.
That's true.
Buddy's jaw is set, a look of determination on his face. Harry holds him, sobbing quietly. Doris looks away to hide her tears. We're at a cemetery, October 1978. Laura, at her mother's funeral with a black coat over a baseball uniform, is again squeezed between adults as if held against her will. Everyone is crying but Laura. She glares at the coffin as it is lowered into the ground and shoves her minute to her back pocket. Ballfield, October 78. Laura, still in her funeral coat, runs to the field where her little league team has just won the big game without her. The boys are whooping and slapping hands in the infield. Parents and friends run into the field from the bleachers. The losing team straggles off. Nobody notices Laura in her fancy black coat. They won without her. With her chin up, she bites her lip and heads home. Sturo Drive and red VW bus, present day. Early spring, cherry blossoms are in full bloom along Sturo Drive, thunderstorm raging overhead. A red VW bus zooms through a sudden downpour, leaving a wake of spray. The bus passes two cars with conviction and pulls confidently into a tight space in front of a big truck. The bus swerves off Sturo onto a side street in Kenmore Square, triggering a cacophony of car horns that she doesn't use. Rain has stopped, sunshine, roads drying fast. Laura opens the roof again. Children play jacks and jump rope on a playground. Family life is all over these streets. Traffic moves slowly. Mothers gather on corners with strollers and coffee. Old men sit on porches with dogs at their feet. In her bus, see Laura at the wheel. Now 40 with short dark hair and a slightly lined face, she looks edgy yet put together. Her face is vibrant, willful, and vulnerable all at once. A box of files, videotapes, film cans, and lighting equipment rattle against each other in the back. The front passenger seat is piled high. CDs, learned Spanish tapes, a half-eaten lunch, multiple flavors of chapstick, and dental floss.
And I was more into conspiracy theories than happy endings. Cynical at 6, sardonic at 7, my mother used to say.
Laura at 14 on her bike, playing Easy Rider with a black flat hat and scarf riding off a ramp, and Laura smokes a cigarette and reads Anne Sexton on top of a mausoleum in a cemetery.
Now I only read nonfiction and make documentaries.
Laura at 40, dressed in black with stern dark glasses, cell phone, and a clipboard. She hopes for a shutdown into her walkie on a shoot in a bad neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Have a lighter side, but only on the ball field.
Laura at 14 plays some serious touch football with her brothers in the sandlot of a neighborhood park. Laura tackles a boy twice her size.
After keeping my brothers in line for years, I escaped New York for my first film job and a string of underachieving, needy boyfriends.
Laura at 30 looks bored at a poetry reading in a Soho club with typical new age guy at her side.
We create our own curses and blessings. Why blame outside forces?
Laura at 14 trades a card of Ted Williams for a $20 bill. Match dissolved to the $20 bill that Laura at 40 holds out at the car wash for a super deluxe. She leans back in the driver's seat and watches the sun seep through the crack into her windshield. Donnelly Kitchen, Charleston, 1979. The kitchen is a post-breakfast homework disaster. Water for hard-boiled eggs is boiling over the stove. Dirty dishes are piled in the sink. Laura is pulling the hot eggs out of the water, packing lunches, and trying to braid her hair and finish her homework all at the same time. The family dog, Lefty, sits on some papers on the floor. Danny pushes the dog with his foot.
Besides, I had laundry to do.
Hey, there's my homework. Shove off, Lefty. Did my uniform get in the dryer? We have a game today, Laura. I'm going to be late. Where's my uniform?
Danny grabs some bacon and dashes up the stairs, paper spilling from his backpack. Joey sips his orange juice at the kitchen counter.
Seb, you're Joey.
I am?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Laura, can you sign my note? Daddy said he would be home yesterday, and the field trip is tomorrow.
Laura rolls her eyes, and she marks the eggs with an X and puts them in the school lunches, which Andy and Jimmy and Teddy grab on their way out the door. She pats Joey on the head as she leans over to sign his note, and he jumps up, spilling his glass of juice. Laura cleans it up, turns off the stove, and hustles out the door. The school bus is pulled away just moments before she reaches the corner. There's a hint of resentment in her eyes as she bites her lip in repression. She's 14, going on 28.
The Red Sox broke New England's hearts for 86 years. And as a girl, I watched as it broke my brothers for 26 years, but not mine. I escaped.
Laura drives under the sign on Sturo Drive. Highway Department workers are removing graffiti from the sign and restoring the original reverse curve sign, which currently reads "Reverse the Curse." Titles begin. We're on Green Street in JP. Laura pulls up behind a loaded truck. Her 5 brothers, now all in their 30s, unload her furniture and move it into her new place. She reads them on her way into a 3-story clapboard carrying a lazy man's load. In her new ground floor apartment, Danny, now a 35-year-old gym teacher, sets up the television and turns on the game. Jimmy, 38-year-old assistant coach, unloads boxes in the kitchen. They have thick Boston accents.
Sebby, you're Jimmy and Danny.
Oh,
And
okay. Do you want to read for Jimmy? Okay. Hey, where's the clicker? The game's starting. Get some more boxes first, Jimmy. But it's opening day. We can't miss the first pitch.
Danny steps out of the path of Teddy, a 39-year-old Marine, and Andy, now unemployed at 36, who carry a large couch.
Oh, goodness.
Who's Teddy?
Go ahead, Teddy.
You want me to, okay.
Yeah,
We ain't all gonna fit on this couch.
Jimmy enters with a bag of tortilla chips.
Yo, where do you pack the salsa?
With the beef jerky.
Joey, the youngest brother and minor league baseball player, puts down a large box and hoists the TV on.
Yo, remember mom's corned beef? Or was that Laura's?
In the bedroom, Laura finds her grandma going through her underwear.
Grandma, what are you doing?
These
Sports bras.
getting work without real bra.
Laura pulls 2 dresses out of a plastic garbage bag.
Just hang it.
See, you don't have.
In Laura's living room, Teddy, Danny, Andy, Jimmy, and Joey are all gathered around the game. They jump up and yell at each other and the TV. In the kitchen, Laura unpacks a box of food, butter buds, dry milk, protein bars. Danny enters and picks up a pack of freeze-dried camping provisions.
What? Are you a contestant on Survivor?
You're a big help.
Forget about cooking. Laura, we'll order pizza. Oh, do y'all have any salsa in there?
In the living room, Laura enters to whooping in response to a Red Sox triple. She eats peanut butter and Nutella right out of the jar. She pulls a box that says fragile from under Jimmy's feet. Grandma scurries in from the bedroom with a Red Sox cap.
Sweet. Don't get your hopes up. Plenty of time to choke.
Any score?
Almost. Nixon just tripled.
Nothing like a triple. It's like unrequited love. You don't know where it's going, but you know it's good for now. Graham, you're the best kind of fan.
Yeah, who needs a home run? It's like coming too soon. It's only the bottom of the second.
Massive groan from the TV, echoed by all 5 boys.
No.
opening day and we already feel the ghost.
Don't start.
Yeah, we used to just lose and not think about it. Now we just frigid cursed.
In Laura's bedroom, she lies spread eagle in her freshly made bed, exhausted. Unpacked boxes surround her, but the feeling is alone at last. Shadows from the streetlights play across the wall. In the Charles River corridor in Cambridge, Buddy walks along the Charles River corridor. He swings a crutch in his hand, not really using it for walking. He passes moms with strollers, rollerbladers, and joggers. He slows his pace to watch a pickup game of softball, a forlorn look on his face. Laura jogs past Buddy watching the game. He notices her. She acknowledges him like she's seen him before. She checks her watch and her reaction. Harvard crew team is returning from early morning practice on the Charles. Scullers row and coaches and coxsmen shout. Laura jogs past Harvard Business School, crosses the bridge to Alston, continues past the Genzyme Biotech headquarters and into the GBH building. In her office, her new boss, Ethan King, meets her at the elevator. His boyish charm hides his ruthless attention to detail. He could be played by Ken Burns.
Sweaty and late, I spy a freelancer.
Thanks, Ethan. I really appreciate you giving me some work while I'm here.
How's your dad?
Let's get to work. Has Joni shot anything?
Okay, then Joni's got some stuff and I just got you a consultant you'll really appreciate, except
They turn into Laura's office. Big windows look out onto a view of a bustling wasteland of office buildings and factories, the hidden side of Austin. Delight and relief spread across Laura's face.
I love it. Except what?
Laura flops into the desk chair and swivels around. Ethan looks uncomfortable.
What?
Ethan closes the door. Laura sees her posters of Amelia Earhart at her plane, the same poster that hung in her room as a child.
Who unpacked for me? Perfect.
he is a Yankee fan.
Who?
Buddy Miller, the consultant I just hired for your project. We need to use him now before the season heats up. We gotta jump on this before.
Joni marches into the room. She's a graceful, stunning redhead with a mischievous yet majestic presence. She hands Laura a cup of coffee and keeps one for herself.
The curse is broken.
Joni and Laura exchange kisses and hugs. It's obvious that they're old friends.
Joni, we'll fill you in on Buddy and the schedule. Good to have you back.
Ethan leaves, closing the door behind him.
I expect baseball to be a nice change from the heavy shit I've been doing in New York. Who is Buddy Miller?
Joni Googles Buddy Miller on Laura's computer while Laura settles in. On the screen comes up a picture of Buddy shaking hands with owners and players.
Used to run teaching Harvard. 2 books published, one on Babe Ruth, other one on economics of baseball. He consults with owners and players around complex stadiums and stuff.
She clicks in another photo.
Oh, this.
Maybe he's the guy I just heard on NPR. Sounds pompous and rhetorical.
Well, get a chance to find out. He's speaking at the Paralympics committee dinner tonight. And, yeah,
Just my luck.
Laura throws the file on the desk and starts to pace the room, unconsciously eating old pretzels out of her bag.
is it?
I just can't believe I've downgraded so far. New York to Boston, now needle exchange programs to baseball.
Okay, there's just one project. There will still be drug programs to promote, IMF to expose, hydrogen self-cause to invent. Would you get a little more excited?
Ah, 9 to 5.
You got a budget, and benefits,
Ouch.
you'll feel better on payment.
Yeah, my mother was rolling in her grave as I seriously contemplated staying in New York for less money and more glory.
Gratitude is more productive than guilt.
But I've burned my bridges here.
You got the job, 2,000 people want it. What if you were paid?
It's just this gnawing feeling I left something out.
Laura pops 2 ibuprofen with her coffee.
Do long distance telephone ads ever make you cry?
Yeah, once a month. I got the perfect cure. Let's go for sushi tonight, or better yet, let's order in and watch dark Swedish films with subtitles while we do our turn.
To hell with men in baseball. I just need a good movie.
Laura sits beside Joni, pushing her off the chair and checks her computer. She pulls up an article on Buddy's website.
This is amusing. They're pulling up Babe Ruth's piano. The legend goes that Ruth and the party goers dragged the piano out onto frozen Willis Pond. When the party ended, they couldn't push the piano back up the bank. Eventually, the ice melted and the piano sank into the murky depths of the dark waters. Divers are now searching the depths. They think this will break the legendary curse of the Bambino. This is last week's paper. Only a Red Sox fan can appreciate the irony of defeat. To be so dedicated to your cause, only to be jolted back to reality by more disappointment. The pond is only 4 feet deep.
Observe the Red Sox legacy of the unfulfilled dream. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Deprivation is a Puritan value that feeds our New England spirit.
In the Charles Hotel, Buddy's at the podium speaking at a fundraising dinner for Partners of Youth with Disabilities. Pictures of athletes hang around the room. There's a particularly poignant picture of Peter Hull on the screen behind the podium.
Can live in a world where the words that generate their reality include citizen, participant, achiever, innovator, champion, human being. We aim to celebrate and to challenge each one of us to live our lives with grace to its fullest potential. Faster, further, stronger, and together.
Applause. Buddy finds a seat next to Laura.
So I hear we're gonna work together.
I haven't had the chance to review your new series, the Horizons of Disability Sports series. How the hell did you score Walter Cronkite?
Yankees fan.
You are in the oldest fucking boys club.
I did see your last piece on needle exchanges. Not that I don't agree, but you didn't give the opposition a fair shake.
Documentaries are about opinions.
I think you have a responsibility to the average American to allow them an educated opinion.
You this way about baseball too,
I'm a reporter first and a fan second.
but you have the attitude of a Yankee fan.
Take that as a compliment.
It's not.
In Fenway Park, organ rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game plays on the loudspeaker. Vendors sell t-shirts and foam hands. Bat boys line up the bats and check their rosters. A party of 9-year-olds piles back into the stands with ice cream and sodas. Advertisements flash on the big screen. Hot dogs spin in the grill and butter sprays on popcorn. Beer foams over paper cups. Sports announcers argue behind the press box window. The glass of the press box is like a mirror reflecting the field. Hopeful fans give each other high fives as they fill back into the stands. The crowd boos, Yankees suck, Yankees suck, Yankees suck, as the Yankees pitcher comes up to the mound. The old stadium is beautifully lit. Buddy watches from the stands and checks his watch. Laura hustles toward the Fenway entrance. The guards turn her away and she goes to check her bag nearby. Now, even later, she comes in the wrong entrance and has to jog all around the stadium before getting to her seating. She spots Buddy.
We're gonna skip ahead to next half of page 22. Exterior.
Middle of 22, exterior Fenway Park years earlier. Buddy and Laura are next to each other in the stands behind third base.
Can't believe Joni is missing this.
Why is it in New York you can have a Met, Yankee and Dodgers fan all in the same family? But if you're within 100 miles of Boston, you better love the Red Sox.
Tell me about it. My brothers screened my boyfriends. I couldn't date outside the fan base.
Doc is a gentle, wizened older man with season tickets in the seat next to Laura.
That's the way it should be. We're the only ones who appreciate a good melodrama.
And they're addicted to despair.
Laura Donnelly, nice to meet you. And this is Buddy Miller.
Pleasure.
Oh, Buddy Miller. I read your book. My name is Doc. I've had these seats since 1976.
Ah, the dream team years.
I've been here long enough to embrace hope over experience.
Does losing make the heart grow fonder? I left this stadium in 1978 and never looked back.
The Red Sox batter strikes out. The crowd jeers.
Lost faith in 78, huh?
Well, baseball seems frivolous.
Red Sox hit a double. The crowd goes wild.
Hey, anybody want a soda?
Thanks.
Buddy goes for refreshments. He's having difficulty walking, looks a little stiff as he climbs the stairs.
Have you found the meaning you were looking for?
Meaning? Doc, these guys make an average of 2.4 million, while my brother makes 35,000 teaching. Where is the meaning in that? Idolatry is the almighty dollar.
You don't see the magic that baseball has to teach us?
Red Sox hit into a double play. Sides retired.
It's more like propaganda. Money talks and it's every man for himself, not like the good old days when I was in the game.
When did life lose its simplicity? When did we get so cynical? Why are you here if baseball is frivolous?
I'm researching a film about baseball, a documentary about the curse of the Bambino for WGBH.
Buddy trips on a stair. The sodas and hot dogs go flying. Doc and Laura get up to help.
You okay?
Fine, I'm okay. I just fall a lot.
Laura helps pick up the mess. Doc goes to get some napkins. Fans begin to move around. Laura and Buddy settle into their seats again. Laura considers eating the hot dog that she just picked up off the floor.
A Unitarian minister, the piano at the bottom of the lake, Bills, Spaceman, Lee. I'm skeptical.
Opinions, good stories.
Just calling it a curse implies superstition.
Doc returns to his seat with a hot dog.
So tell me what the rookie Harvard professor believes.
I think it's complicated.
This curse is bigger than our present and our past. And it may affect our future.
What's in that hot dog?
The Yankees are out 1-2, but then get 2 hits. More cheering and jeering. Fans are throwing peanuts onto the field, and the bat boy is picking them up. The security guards headed to the stands to find the culprit.
The curse is not supernatural. The only curse is human failure. The Yankees paid Babe 70,000, while his teammates got 7,000. But to mortgage this park for 300,000, that was the sellout. That was the beginning of the bad blood that gave New York a slow IV trip on Boston's future. Crazy was a short-sighted man who destroyed the team player by player. By the time the Yankees won the next championship, 11 out of 25 of their players had come from Boston. Babe Ruth, Herb Pennock, Red Ruffin, there was no way. There's no curse. It's just about putting the best team on the field and winning.
Babe Ruth took baseball to another level of both player worship and commercials. Teams were like family back then. Long before free agents and the monopolies of today.
Come on, Doc. It may have been 1922, but what did the Babe have to do with the exemption of antitrust or free agents for that matter?
Laura's frantically getting this all on paper. Another Yankee gets on the base.
And the Sox could have broken the racial barrier in baseball, but gave up the chance to get Jackie Robinson in 1945.
Yeah, strike 2. They would have won if they'd had Jackie.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yankee hits a fly ball to left field and the hush settles over the crowd. It looks like it could go over the fence, but Manny Ramirez catches it against the wall with a dramatic bash. He rubs his shoulder and holds up the ball. Cheers erupt. The wave goes up and down around the ballpark. Laura smiles at Doc. On Yawkey Way, Buddy buys Laura a Yankees hat from the vendor. She refuses it. He walks away, then stumbles and falls.
You okay?
He holds his leg, breathes deeply, hides his pain. A cocky policeman saunters over.
What is going on here?
He's fine.
I have SMA type 3, a rare neurological disorder that typically kills 95% of the children who inherit a deleted protein on the 7th chromosome. That chromosome allows us to breathe, and the babies die because they cannot breathe. In my case, I have a mild form of the disease, and as a part of the 5% who live, I have a severe wasting of my trunk muscles. I only have 20% of a normal male muscular structure, so I fall a lot.
Laura stoops to help Buddy. He pushes her away and gets himself up with difficulty.
Yeah, right. I know that handicap. It's called too many beers.
I'm not drunk. I'd just rather fall than be in a wheelchair.
The policeman walks away to break up a few fighting fans. In Laura's living room, Buddy holds an ice pack on his knee. Laura comes in with another bag of ice.
Maybe I should use my cane.
Sidewalks suck near Fenway.
As I said, most infants, or I've been falling since I was 18.
What? I thought people with SMA get worse and die.
As I said, most infants with SMA die before they're 2.
You know, when I met you, I had no idea you were,
Differently able to see.
I knew that. I'm just mentally challenged today.
I'm good at hiding it.
It's too bad people can't hide their ignorance better.
Laura exits and returns with ibuprofen and a glass of water. She sits at his feet with the hassock. On the hassock.
Do you want some tea? Arnica?
What's that?
A homeopathic remedy for bruising and swelling. Pull down your pants.
What?
I want to see if it's swollen.
If what is swollen?
Your knee, smartass.
I'm not wearing underwear.
Oh, free balling.
Yeah, I can push these up. See, it's fine.
Buddy pulls up his pant leg, revealing some nasty bruises and old scars.
Can't imagine.
So why'd you stop playing baseball?
My mom died the last week of the season. I wanted to pitch for the championship instead of going to her funeral.
You wanted to pitch instead of going to your mother's funeral?
She was already dead, for God's sake. God didn't care. She would have wanted me to play. But my dad said, God cares, get in the car.
And my dad would say the same.
Then Title IX came along and I couldn't play with the boys' teams like I'd done in high school. Thought God was getting back at me.
Laura's taken a glass bottle of Arnica out of her purse. She winds up her pitch and throws Buddy the bottle. He catches it.
Oh, so you're a southpaw. So was the babe.
I know all about the babe. He died on my birthday, August 16th. I thought I was him, an overzealous orphan who lived for baseball. I even wrote a song about him. I wasn't looking.
Laura at 13 sits at her desk singing the words to the tune of The Spy Who Left Me and playing with her baseball cards, making a house of cards. There are baseball cards everywhere. At one point, she sings into her statue of Ted Williams.
But somehow you found me. I tried to hide from the little leagues, like babe before me, the pitcher I wanna be. Keeping all my baseballs safe tonight. No, keeping all my left arm warm too. No, El Tiante might pitch better. The times I've dreamed of a no-hitter. Oh, yeah. Nobody plays it quite the way you did.
The house of cards tumbles into a pile and Laura goes back to writing down the words. Just keeps me trying harder. Just keeps me running home. In Laura's living room, Laura swings Buddy's cane.
Now I have to learn to swat like you do too.
In a car wash, Laura's car is a moving office. She throws out trash and duct tapes her broken lights so that she can go through the car wash. In the car, Laura, deep in thought, flosses her teeth and blasts her music and checks off her checklist. Soap sprays the windows. Large blue mops and swirling brushes make suds across the windshield. Water pelts the exterior. When the drying blasters go on, she turns off the music, lowers her seat, closes her eyes, and takes one luxurious deep breath. In her dad's house at night, Laura rifles through the kitchen closet. Her dad, Frank, makes tea. He's a jolly man with a full head of hair, a beer belly, and red cheeks from years of the drink. He's got the healthy look of a windswept Irishman, despite the fact that he has recently been diagnosed with cancer. Laura's come back to Boston to spend some time.
Your friend,
You want a cookie? Mary brought them over yesterday.
She's always trying to win you over with food.
She's a diabetic, but she likes to bake.
You're the bachelor on the block with the most hair.
Look in the bedroom closet if it's not in that one.
Laura discovers a box containing a shawl, Jane Eyre, and sewing.
When did mom ever have time to sew?
Your mother was always making something for your kids. Never did anything for herself.
Laura smells her mother's shawl, but then tosses it back in the box. She starts on the next box.
I found it.
Laura pulls out her old pitcher's mitt. She holds the glove in her hands, letting the feel of the leather open up the floodgate of memories. In Buddy's bedroom at night, Buddy picks up one of his signed baseballs, smells it, and closes his eyes. Then he peruses his other Yankee paraphernalia as he oils his glove. He shoves his favorite ball into the glove and puts the glove under a big table. In Laura's office at GBH, Joni walks in, closing the door firmly. Laura's oiling her glove. Files and tapes are everywhere. Joni drops a pile of files on the desk.
Yes, the ones that get funded.
Why did you abandon me at Fenway to sit with that elitist Yankee fan for 2 hours?
Thought you liked
We're not going there.
first base, second base.
I didn't get my meat where I get my bread.
You could still go and keep one foot on first.
Besides, he's not my. He couldn't keep up with me.
Ethan walks in the door without knocking.
Laura, I thought we had a 9 o'clock budget in my office. I gotta run. We'll talk at lunch.
Yes.
In Laura's bedroom, split scene, she's on top, he's on bottom. Laura's painting her toenails red with her headset on. She sits in front of her Mac iBook on the bed. Buddy is at his PC checking game stats. He's got her on speakerphone. He takes off his Yankee cap and throws it so that it lands perfectly on his hat.
Last year, I wrote a thank you note to some guy I interviewed in Chicago, and I made a comment about his winning streak. His team lost the day he got my letter, and he's still blaming me.
Is he serious?
Who cares?
Did you know Pedro hurt his shoulder the day after he said he didn't believe in the curse of the Bambino?
Really?
Then there was Stephen King, big Red Sox fan, who mocked the curse and was hit by a car.
Laura, please.
Let's interview. I'm going to email you what I've got.
You never get your attachments. Why do you insist on using a Mac?
It's a better story. I support the underdog.
You should just admit you're a Red Sox fan.
Then stop acting like a Yankee fan with your IBM and Palm Pilot scorecard. And why don't you get a headset? Speakerphones shun intimacy.
Laura smudges the red polish and dabs it with a Kleenex and changes position. But he stops typing, picks up the phone.
Oh, are we intimate? You're off speaker.
Gotta go. Call me back after frontline.
She quickly hangs up before he can respond. On the cooking around town set during the day, Ming Tsai smiles, holds up the beautiful steaming plate of food for the closing shot. Crew stands still but not silent because their stomachs are growling.
So I close by saying, healthy appetite.
Hold the dish up, Ming, so we can see it. 2 and move in.
Laura motions to the second camera, who moves in on the platter.
6, 7, and cut.
It's a wrap.
Was I all right?
Egg rolls and steamed dumplings vanish off the platter. Crew digs into the rice.
Here, let me serve you.
Thanks, Ming. Beautiful.
Laura grabs 2 plates of fancy food out from under the hose before Ming Tsai can finish serving the crew. She hands one to Ethan.
Thanks for stopping in.
No problem.
Buddy, is it your office? How's it going?
Oh, fine. And I thought I was a stickler for details.
In Laura's office, Laura walks in and shuts the door loudly. Buddy is looking at pictures on the wall. Laura with her dad and 5 brothers, Laura getting an Emmy in New York, Laura at another awards event standing with several producers in suits.
Sorry I hung up so quickly. I didn't want to miss that front line. A friend of mine shot it.
Manipulative.
Look, if this is about my apartment after the game, well, you should know. I never get involved with colleagues. Besides, you're not my type.
Yeah, you're not my type either. I don't work well with control freaks.
I am a manipulative control freak. So if we don't have conflict in the film, at least we'll have it in production. Can we just call it a truce and look at some footage?
Laura heads out into the hallway, Buddy trails behind. In the editing room, Laura sits down next to the editor, Sam, a chubby 25-year-old with bad skin and thick glasses.
What do you think, Sam?
Interesting. What do you want to see? The stuff you just shot or some stock footage I found?
How is the stop?
Oh, yeah, it's good quality, unbelievable.
Buddy enters the edit room and pulls up a chair on the other side of the editor. On the screen, footage of Babe Ruth and children, very tender, very moving, horsing around. FX footage speeds up, slows to a picture of Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, speeds up, some touching shots of Babe Ruth. Reverse angle, camera pulls back on another scene. The editor is gone and Buddy and Laura sit at the screen with an empty seat in between them. She's all business, he waxes poetic.
I never get tired of the Babe. A unique, perfect, record-breaking specimen. We keep records because he broke them.
The icon created a myth, and the myth became a reality. It has stood the test of time. Makings of a great story, commitment, abandonment, betrayal, seduction, morality, immorality.
It sounds like Hollywood, not PBS.
Check out what we shot yesterday. It's raw.
A documentary insert at Smith College in the present day. Smith College economics professor played by Andrew Zimbalist.
The sale of Ruth marked the culmination of what William Hulbert started in 1876, when he founded the National League and began the transformation of the sport of baseball into a business. Ruth connected the game on the field to Madison Avenue and was the first player to be paid more than the President of the United States. Today, players are paid millions of dollars, but the irony is that baseball in America is also the strongest antidote to the individualism bred by our corporate culture.
Joni motions for Zimbalist to pause while she moves the tripod and changes the camera angle for another shot.
The Babe didn't curse anything. He turned baseball into America's national pastime. That's the gift of the Bambino. As for Boston's dry spell, Sox fans have a greater sense of mission than the Yankees fan, and one day soon they will experience more joy than is imaginable to any New Yorker. That's a blessing, not a curse. The Cubs, with a drought 10 years longer, have the same blessing. Why else are Wrigley Field and Fenway Park the only two baseball stadiums that fill to capacity every game?
In a documentary insert, Laura interviews a popular Boston sports writer, Dan Shaughnessy, who plays himself. A sang-froid soul with some foreboding knowledge.
Possibilities are endless, even if you play your hardest every day. Consider the most favorable conditions. Healthy team, not too much competition from the Yankees, Orioles, and Blue Jays. Let's say Sox get the one. They still have to win the division playoffs and then the pennant playoffs to even get to the series. Even under these favorable assumptions, the Sox have only approximately 3 chances in 10 actually winning the World Series. Baseball is like a racetrack. It's always unpredictable and it's always a tight race.
Camera moves in for a close-up from another end.
Fans see what they want. When I take a foreigner to a ball game, they think there's a lot of standing around. Baseball is all about possibilities and probabilities. Baseball is about what might happen. Every pitcher and batter that face off generate more statistical probabilities. But the beauty of baseball is that it is full of surprise, mystical and authentic, elusive or elusive.
In the editing room at GBH.
You certainly got Dan in a capricious moment,
Capricious?
you know, impetuous, whimsical.
Yeah, I have that effect on people.
They return to another clip. Insert on a porch of an old age home. Wizened woman, the old codgerette, is sitting on a rocker. She has a big Red Sox cap on. Her frail body is lost in her extra large Red Sox sweatshirt.
They say morality rates will go sky high the day after the Red Sox win the World Series. I'm gonna be one of those numbers. I'm 101 years old and I'm not gonna die until the curse is broken. I'm gonna see it with my own eyes, just like I did in 1918, sitting on my pappy's lap. This, I believe, has kept me alive for the last 27 years. You know why? Yes, sir, because the Lord wants me to die happy.
Documentary insert. Laura interviews a Harvard professor about deconstructing the myth of the Bambino. The lighting is soft. Laura moves the light and walks up with a whiteboard. The professor may be played by Cornell West.
Mark, you're Cornell West. 40, the neo-Marxist.
If we interview West, this is the neo-Marxist explanation of the deconstruction of the myth of the Bambino explains the ideology of oppression in very clear terms. An example of the manifestation of this inferiority complex would be the green monster. Who named it that? Green represents jealousy and envy. We limit ourselves, we make our own persons. Doubt is a setup for failure. When people feel threatened, they start thinking in black and white. People cling to the curse, not realizing that they are creating the reality that they dread. We need to empower the fans to liberate themselves of the self-fulfilling prophecy.
On the street in Cambridge, Laura and Joni leave work. Laura walks up to her car and notices the left front headlight is dangling. Joni walks up behind her. Pulling out a fat roll of duct tape, she patches the light back in. There's already tape holding up her antenna and holding her front hood closed.
I need more than an angel. Haven't you read the recent medical journals? Works better on warts than compound W. Ricky has hemorrhoids.
Buddy,
Buddy has hemorrhoids. I can't figure out if I like him or hate him.
always a shoes.
In the Harvard faculty room, Buddy wheels in a very smooth Aeron office chair into the faculty room with a hat full of money in his lap. Court pours a coffee. Buddy glides around the room like a pro, getting milk from the fridge, picking up a fax, clearing the table.
So, how's the documentary film world? Nice change of pace.
Buddy grabs a sandwich out of the fridge and rolls up to the table where Court is sitting.
Laura makes Cleo look relaxed. She's covering all the bases. This weekend, it's Cooperstown interviews.
You should go.
No way. I'll be in Cleveland. Besides, she's a pain in the ass. I can't imagine a road trip.
You just don't get women. You need to be a little less cynical. Game's not until Sunday. Fly through Albany. I'll cover for you.
Buddy chews thoughtfully.
I don't need your advice.
You're no fun since, how long has it been?
I'm not counting.
A year?
Buddy looks at his watch.
10 months and 6 days.
Hey, you know I've been coaching Mateo's team. There's this kid who keeps going through chemo, some kind of fungal infection in his bone. He was an amazing player, great sport. If I had another coach,
I don't like kids.
just play catch with him. Give him some of your Zen equanimity.
I thought I was cynical.
Buddy leans over to pick up some trash off the floor and almost falls out of his chair.
Besides, I'm unstable.
No, I think you're incredibly well balanced for a cripple. Are you on Prozac or just repressed?
In the Cooperstown Museum, Laura interviews the Hall of Fame curator, Mr. Brown, a soft-spoken older man with small glasses and a slight twitch in his face when he gets excited about his topic. A camera is set up on a tripod and there are lights set up for the shot. They each have a microphone.
You be Mr. Brown.
In my opinion, the most valuable item of the house here between the walls of the Baseball Hall of Fame is the very bat Babe Ruth used for his 57, 58, 60th home runs. We keep it on special glass.
Mr. Brown walks over to the exhibit, unlocks the glass case, and carefully retrieves the bat.
But I will tell you a secret. When I first started working here, the janitor, it slightly challenged me. Was always dealing over that bat. Indeed, one night, I couldn't help myself. Unlock the display and let him play. And of course, I got to touch it too. I refrained from throwing him a pitch from him. I was tempted.
He beams as if this were the highlight of his career. A shot of the two men giggling and playing ball, holding Babe's bat in their white gloved hands and gently pitching to each other. In the gallery, a Norman Rockwell shot of a dad and his son gazing raptly at Babe's locker with his glove from the 1926 series and his bat from 27. Laura catches the shot on her camera. In this setting, she might be one of their relatives. Laura strolls past the statues of Babe Ruth and Ted Williams, past display cases of bats and gloves and photographs of great players. The space is relatively crowded, relatively noisy, families and kids. In Laura's apartment, Joni, Ethan, and Buddy are clearing the table of all their work and papers. Laura's in the kitchen trying to scrounge up something to offer.
We got beer, ketchup, and pickles, and Lance Armstrong's nuts. I got them in 2-for-1 sets.
Cheese, I could whip up some nachos.
When Laura opens the seltzer, it explodes, soaking her shirt. Laura strips off the shirt to clean the mess on the floor. She's wearing a sports top.
Shit.
She looks up to catch Buddy, who has just entered. She is soaked.
Look at this.
Could you guys just put on the coffee?
Laura disappears into the bedroom. Joni starts the coffee, checks out the sparse cupboards, tosses a box that moths emerge from. Buddy finds a pack of spaghetti and an onion and starts chopping. Ethan is in the living room setting the table. Buddy notices a picture on the fridge of Laura clutching an Emmy with Bill Moyers. Charlie Rose holds Laura's hand over her head like she's a champ. Buddy settles on a picture of Laura with her dad and 5 brothers at her mother's funeral. Looking closer, he chuckles to see her mitt bulging out of the back of her coat. The onions make him cry. In Laura's bedroom, Laura throws on some sweats and a t-shirt without a bra. She looks in the mirror. She considers lipstick but uses Vaseline instead, pinches her cheeks and heads out. In the kitchen, Joni is now tossing food from the fridge.
Huh. Let's just go out. You're a cook?
Stirring the butter buds into a cream sauce, which looks pretty good. More than you, from the looks of it.
Joni pulls a science experiment out of the fridge.
I'm going to order takeout.
In Laura's dining room, Laura, Buddy, Joni, and Court and Ethan all sit around the dining room table, an eclectic assortment of takeout food and a simple homemade pasta alfredo.
Well, that was my old-time baseball fan past. He was downhill ever since.
You're telling me I was covering the game at Shea. It's got to be one of the top 3 experiences as a rookie writer. I was a Cub fan, so I bet on the underdog.
Probably made more money in that pool than you've made since. Must have been someplace interesting, Ethan.
I was losing brain cells in the pine forests of Hampshire College. And let me tell you, you didn't help the pain.
I didn't feel the pain, and I was living in New York. I went from Boston College to the Bronx, and I thought I'd gone to heaven.
In a TV studio in New York in 1986, Laura at 20 watches the game in the television studio with her colleagues. Tensions run high. It's the bottom of the 10th inning. The ball goes through Bill Buckner's legs at first base. The few Boston fans are stunned. The Mets fans are embarrassed but ecstatic. Laura's face reveals nothing.
So, where were you?
We flash back to Buddy at the doctor's office with his parents.
We couldn't get into Shea, and believe me, we tried. So a bunch of guys on the team, some of us had just gotten contracts for a minor league tryout. We set up a multimedia system in the big parking lot. Three televisions, 2-way radios with friends on the inside. That piece of concrete never saw so much tension.
God, I miss New York.
Do you?
Just because I don't like the Yankees doesn't mean I don't like New York.
It's synonymous. Just like love and hate, emotions that strong have to be related. Perhaps you feel guilty for losing faith in your team, and now you just take it out on us New Yorkers.
Psychoanalysis 101. You see, this is why I have trouble working with this.
Laura, you are a little defensive.
Jesus Christ, I'm just a constantly recovering Red Sox Catholic. I'm guilty.
Hey, Jews invented guilt. Catholics just improved on it.
Catholics were driven by it.
I would beg to differ. Ethan.
Ethan.
Uh,
Page at the top of 48.
How about how about Jews are guilty to God, but Catholics are guilty to their parents?
Yeah, my father would say, you'd kill your mother with that behavior if she weren't already dead.
Catholics are guilty for what they do, but us Jews are guilty for what we don't do. You never write, you never call, or you should have been a doctor.
Everybody talks and laughs at once. Laura turns to Buddy.
Where are your parents?
Upper East Side, both lawyers.
And you're an only child?
How did you know?
In Laura's car, Laura and Jody wheel along Sturrow Drive past sailboats and skulls in the Charles River, while Nina Simone belts out a sultry tune.
Thanks for giving up a Sunday. Yeah, I think we bonded over our guilt at dinner. He gave me this CD. It's got a good music software.
Honey, he was using his pocket. What is it?
What are you talking about?
So speedy. For a genius.
He likes jazz. He sings Edit in the elevator. I don't think he has seen a lot of action in the bedroom. I don't, makes me wonder how he does it, you know?
I could design a contraption of some kind. After all, if Captain Great could do it. That's a totally other.
Well,
Laura pulls out to pass the delivery truck on Western Ave and barely makes it back to her lane before a car whizzes by.
Right, listen to this.
Nina Simone sings, "I Put a Spell on You." Jody and Laura listen to the words.
oh, chance. Too demanding. I don't need to be taking care of anyone.
Ooh, my especially responsible friend of the underserved is going to sound lovely. Prejudice begins to
Oh, please, I'm giving him a lift to the city this weekend. It's just good timing. I've got a meeting and he's got a doctor's appointment. I think he's been falling more.
Laura weaves through traffic.
Yeah. Slow down.
In the editing room, Laura, Buddy, Joni, and Sam watch clips of their recent interviews. Stephen King, Ken Burns, and a Unitarian pastor. Joni operates a big board of 3x5 cards. Sam is at the computer. Laura takes notes. Buddy is pacing the floor behind everyone, looking slightly distracted. He comes and goes often to fill his teacup and answer the cell phone. Insert dot clip of Stephen King.
If the Red Sox ever meet Chicago Cubs for the championship, it will be the next apocalypse. I don't know which curse deserves to be broken first.
Go on to the next one.
Is that it?
We lost the sound.
Oh, it was my fault. It wasn't a good interview.
Our impartial Bostonian exhibited some buried bias. Cut it.
Laura shoots him a dirty look.
This clip is a keeper.
Insert a Ken Burns in an empty Fenway Stadium.
Rooting for the Yankees is like rooting for U.S. Steel. The Red Sox have a story that I can tell my grandchildren again and again. It's like when you're reading a great novel, you don't want it to end, so you start savoring every word. That's how I feel this season. It's such a good story. I don't want it to end. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to beat the Yankees. I'm just worried that if we win the series, the story will be over.
Keep it rolling, Sam. What do you guys think of this?
On the screen, Bill's spaceman Lee points to the constellations and the planetarium around him. He wears his old Red Sox uniform.
I was in right field the day we lost the series to the Mets. Call it the stars, call it the winds, for God's sake. The stadium is built on sacred native burial grounds. Whatever conspired that day, the forces were against us. But it's not just one game, one player, one strike, one bad omen. It's the confluence of all the historical and metaphysical events leading up to that space in time. Uranus was now in the same exact place in its orbit that it was in 1919. Interestingly enough, NASA's Voyager 2 journey was the closest we have come to Uranus, and that was 1986. Uranus has an average of 84.7 year orbit. That's come full circle. It's time for us to win again. We believe.
That has definitely got to go.
The doc insert continues in the sanctuary of a Unitarian church. Laura and Buddy interview a Unitarian pastor, Father Weston. There's also a cameraman and a sound guy. Close on Father Weston, everyone else is off camera.
Jackie Robinson said it's a sin of omission rather than a sin of commission. But the Red Sox still need to atone for that, as well as the felony.
How are they connected?
The pastor points to a picture on the wall of a 20-year-old babe in a Red Sox uniform. He has big lips and a thick nose.
People thought he had African-American ancestry. Thick lips, flat nose. His classmates at St. Mary's called him Peter.
You can't be saying that the Sox are paying for this sin.
Absolutely.
That's bunk.
Buddy, please continue, Father.
The ritual aspects of baseball are very real. Jackie was born in 1919, same year Babe Ruth signed his contract with the Yankees. The Red Sox could have signed Jackie in 1945, but Mr. Yawkey thought he wasn't right for the team.
Historical footage of Mr. Yawkey is surrounded by large white men in hats. It looks like a meeting of the KKK.
So Boston is still dealing with their racist history.
We all are. Didn't that Cuban pitcher just go to New York instead of Boston? You know what he got? Less money, but more fellowship.
And all the good Cuban restaurants are in New York.
The tape ends. Sam changes tapes in the machine, tries it, and it's the wrong one.
Gotta find the right DV. Be right back.
Sam leaves.
That was pathetic. Are we looking for truth or opinions?
Or in other words, each person's opinion is their own. Copy anyone?
Joni exits with the empty mugs, and Laura and Buddy are left glaring at each other. The tension is palpable.
Buddy, think about what it was like for Jackie Robinson, Bullet Rogan, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Kurt Flood, or even Pumpsy Green.
I'm not talking about that. Is this film educational? Or are you just using it as a platform for your political and social agenda? I.e. your allegiance to your team.
You're the one who sounds judgmental. It's baseball, for Christ's sake.
Honestly, if you interview someone who cries racism, someone who cries commercialism, and someone who cries capitalism, and they're all Red Sox fans, it's starting to sound like
Like what?
you really piss me off. First, you don't admit that you're a Red Sox fan, then you play the righteous underdog card. You need more facts and less commentary, and since I'm being paid to give you my opinion, I will keep saying it until you listen.
Last night, I had a dream. I was lost in a giant mall with no exit. Do you think that means something?
Joni.
Hey, who wouldn't bother see women with fake boobs and fake men in there in a hot tub? To watch somebody eating bugs in the Amazon, then watch a boring baseball go. Our standards for real life, 4 and 6 are so lacking. Educational TV is a thing of the past.
I'm counting on you, Joni.
I just don't want this to become some Red Sox cult film. It's PBS, not Fox.
Look who is calling me righteous. The Japanese probably get the Yankees on cable better than Western Mass. Why? Because the team owns the cable company.
It's an industry. It responds to public demand.
It's Americanization, not globalization.
American culture has always been exported, from baseball to Baywatch.
10 years ago, the Globe covered 10% foreign topics, 90% domestic. Now it's 2% foreign coverage, and that's even when we're at war. NBC coverage of foreign affairs has gone from 40% to 10%, even after September 11th.
You've been listening to too much press club. Why is it always the ugly Americans' fault? I read the other day that we are now being blamed for the loss of the siesta in Spain and increasing heart disease in Japan due to fast food.
She slips out of the room.
Have you ever been to Yankee Stadium?
Never. New Yorkers are so spoiled, can't relish a game well lost.
We just play better when we win and lose better when we don't.
Why does it always come back to this?
Who wears Yankee Sucks t-shirts? You never see New Yorkers wearing Red Sox Sucks shirts.
New York buys championships instead of t-shirts.
Who's the team that needs 26 taxis for 26 players? The team who has dealt endless security from the fans and the media.
Oh, back to one-sided media.
I can see that you're emotionally disconnected from your Red Sox roots.
I guess it's like riding a bike. Fans don't forget.
On a baseball diamond near a children's rehab hospital, Buddy coaches the kids team. A kid in a wheelchair hits the ball and careens in his chair around first and stops at second. The children laugh and clap and generally fall over each other as the last out is caught by a kid who drops his crutches to dive for the ball. Various nurses, aides, and physical therapists help the children in their wheelchairs or crutches back to the hospital. Laura watches Buddy with the kids, perhaps with a change of opinion.
That was inspiring.
Fresh air beats chemo any day. Are we late?
No, New York in 4 hours. Want to catch a few?
Sure.
Laura and Buddy play catch, or she hits a few fungos. Buddy notices movement in the tree. He walks over to the tree and looks up. He leans back too far and loses his balance. Laura comes over to help him up. Randy, 13, sits high in the tree with curly brown hair and big brown eyes that glisten with tears. His slender fingers and beautiful hands clutch the branches above as he leans over to ask.
Stebby, you're Randy.
Coach, are you okay?
Yeah. Why weren't you at practice?
Laura heads for the parking lot.
I'll be at the car.
She can throw.
You think?
I went for more tests. The growth advanced. They want to operate again. Chemo isn't working.
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
I'll live. My parents say I will. I just like sitting where no one sees me. Look at the shadows.
Randy climbs down from the high branch. He hangs for a moment in the air and then jumps onto a lower branch.
The smell of the ballpark always made me feel better.
Randy loses his balance and hugs the tree trunk before sliding down and making the final leap to the ground.
Yeah, remember Ferdinand the Bull?
Who?
Ferdinand's a bull. It was my favorite story when I was a kid. His favorite spot is sitting under the flowering cork tree while the other bulls fight. When he finally gets dragged into the fighting ring, he sees the matador. He and smells the flowers in the lady's hair, and he sits right down to enjoy the smell.
Randy picks up his glove. Buddy tosses him the ball. They continue to play an easy game of catch.
Right in the middle of the fight?
Sometimes you gotta fight, but sometimes it's good to just sit and think.
I fall down and everyone is looking at me. I like to just sit for a minute and think about what I can do rather than what I can't.
Randy sees Laura pull the car up nearby. She's listening to the radio.
Who is she?
She's giving me a ride to New York. We work together.
You're going to work in New York?
No, I'm actually going to see my neurologist. Don't know if the news is good or bad this time.
Are you scared?
Yeah, I guess I am.
Buddy throws the ball on a short hop. Randy makes a great catch off the ground and jogs over to tag Buddy out playfully, almost knocking him down.
Me too. I can't believe you're still a Yankees fan.
Can't believe you're still a Red Sox fan.
We're going to win this year.
He throws his arms in the air after the tag out, then motions he's out and pushes Buddy in the direction of Laura's car.
And he's out of here. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
They high-five goodbyes. In Laura's car on the Upper East Side, Laura maneuvers cross town through Central Park.
Our halls were always lined with baseball dents.
Do your parents know that you've been going through all these tests?
I don't want them to worry. I gotta warn you, they will barrage you with questions.
Haven't they noticed you falling more?
We're probably more private than your family.
It's not hard. We'll be fine. I love the Friday candle lighting thing.
You know, I missed Passover this year, so I'm taking you for protection.
What does that mean?
They will be on their best behavior. I haven't brought a woman home in a long time.
I can hold my own.
In a brownstone on the Upper West Side, Buddy and Laura sit opposite each other at the Shabbat table. Doris and Harry Miller are a pleasant, sophisticated couple. Lawyers who support the arts and read extensively evidenced by the beautiful artwork and books about their home, They appear more conservative and judgmental than they actually are because they privately consider all sides of any issue. Doris lights the Shabbat candles, and Buddy and his parents cover their faces and recite the blessings over the wine and bread. Laura follows Buddy's lead, glancing at him in a new light through her fingers.
Someone, we need a Jewish reader.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher titanu
Ivanu Nahad Ner Shel Shabbat.
Go ahead, you read it, Marina.
I just did.
All right.
Carry on.
They continue the blessing over the wine and clink glasses. Harry offers the bread in the middle of the table, and each playfully pulls a piece off the proper place in the blessing. Laura ends up with a small piece, so Doris breaks a piece of hers and passes it to Laura, winking. Laura accepts. Doris focuses on Buddy.
Marina, you play Doris.
She doesn't have the script on her.
Oh, okay.
She's reading her
Yes. I'm just listening.
Sophia, you play Doris. You're a Jewish mother,
Oh.
but loud.
middle of 61.
61. You missed.
You missed a lovely stay of this.
Buddy eyes Laura with the "I told you so" look.
Nick, you're Harry.
You missed some great debates.
Discussion.
Right. Uncle Sid got slightly out of hand.
Really?
Heated fight, discussion over the 4 questions.
Do you know the state?
I lived in Brooklyn for years. Which book do you use?
You mean? Madonna? Well, Uncle Sid bought the reconstruction of Madonna. It started the whole.
Sorry, I missed it.
Buddy passes the salad to Laura, who plays nervously with her salad fork. Doris focuses on Laura.
Remember the 4 questions? Uncle Sid had the kids perform a little play. You know, all those Shapiro grandchildren.
The following are voiced over flashbacks to the Seder.
A dozen little white rapper wannabes coming up in the ranks. 4 of them wore payas and did a rap song. It was quite good.
You know, Gabby, Aaron, Johnny Kid,
Shot the yarmulkes off the Patricia.
what do the 4 children remain?
Alienation, awareness, overt and covert.
On a hotel ballroom stage, the Miller family Seder is in full swing. 80 people sit at long tables. 4 teens dressed in West African Islamic prayer robes are rapping. Their fake payas, dreads, and phylacteries slip off their heads. They rap.
I am the wicked.
I am the wise.
I am overt. Does my brother convert?
Open your eyes. Can't you see the lies?
Everything hidden, like the garden of forbidden.
Are we free when we don't let others be?
Can we question our own Zion? Must we close our eyes and crying, listen to the lion and so on?
Do we have civil liberty, or are we in a state of penitentiary?
Don't answer the 4 questions, be the questions, be the answers.
Several of the matriarchs look shocked. Uncle Sid dances on and off the stage, fixing microphones. He is a short, sprightly man wearing a Rasta wig and a tullet around his shoulders.
You should have been there.
Doris passes the peas around the table.
One of the nose-pierced cousins said the silent child was the most faithful child. The one who hears something deep with words. One who does not need to speak, only act.
But one must question silence as it relates to truth.
Your mother is adamant that withholding the truth is itself a lie.
Honesty is the single most important thing. Not just in the family, not just in the community, in the world. I would rather live in a world where the closeness of family is trust, no matter how painful. Don't you agree?
Buddy glances nervously at Laura and tries to signal to her to keep her mouth shut. Laura avoids him by vigorously salting her food. Doris notices Buddy's agitation. Harry attempts to cover the uncomfortable silence.
It does help if everyone knows what's fatal.
But what if the truth is being withheld because it is ambiguous? I deal with this in documentaries all the time, and I'd rather leave something out than disseminate 50% fact and 50% fiction.
Oh, really? Are we having the Talmudic debate on gossip again?
Documentarians think like lawyers in their pursuit of truth.
Doris beams at Laura. She's in her element, holding court with the family.
Yes, for those who have been given a lot, nothing less.
What about lying for higher moral causes, mother? The midwives in the Passover story lie about how many boy babies were born, because if they told the truth, the babies would be killed.
I would never lie, never. There was no excuse for lying, whether it was outright lie or merely avoidance.
Are there no ethical or moral situations that you have found yourself in that it might be necessary to slightly alter the truth for the good of the whole?
Don't you know by now, there is no gray area where your mother and the truth is.
Let's go into the living room.
Doris starts to clear the places. Laura slowly folds her napkin and takes a sip of wine. She follows Doris into the kitchen.
Did you know Buddy is going to the specialist tomorrow to get the results of some recent tests?
Dead silence. Laura winces. Dora looks wounded as she turns to march into the living room where Buddy and his father are sharing a laugh. The moment they see Doris's face, they fall silent.
Are you following the water?
No.
Laura has slipped into the room. Buddy looks at her in astonishment.
Is he?
I don't know.
Outside of the brownstone, Doris and Buddy stand on the stoop with Laura.
Thank you so much.
I'll walk you out.
Buddy shuts the door, leaving his mother on the other side.
Drop the bomb and leave. She's probably rearranging her whole schedule so she can come with me.
Jeez, I'm sorry. Don't you want someone to go with you?
Buddy slows down and touches Laura's arm.
Yeah. You.
Laura's mouth opens and her eyes widen.
It's the only way my mother won't come.
Doris comes out into the hall before Laura can answer. She's been listening.
I just called tomorrow. You can sit in for me tomorrow. Don't worry. It's all ready.
Buddy looks to Laura.
Doris. Buddy asked me to go. He didn't want you to have to change your schedule. I'd like to go.
Oh, well, that's great. Just call me again.
Doris gives Buddy a little squeeze. She turns to Laura and gives her a bigger hug, whispering in her ear.
Thanks. I talked to you.
In the brownstone kitchen, Doris walks back to the apartment and into the kitchen where Harry washes the dishes. She hugs him from behind. Outside on the brownstone steps, Buddy puts his hand on Laura's shoulder for balance as he awkwardly walks down the stairs without his crutch.
Most people leave without saying goodbye. Our family says goodbye, but never lets you go.
In a doctor's office during the day, Buddy and Laura sit awkwardly. Upon entering, Dr. Alice Ryan is all business. She greets them with a nod.
Dr. Ryan, this is Laura Donnelly.
Dr. Ryan shakes Laura's hand.
Nice to meet you.
Dr. Ryan.
Doc.
Mr. Miller, I have some very interesting news.
A moment of
Oh,
awkward.
it's a woman. You play Dr. Ryan.
Okay. Mr. Miller, I have some interesting news.
A moment of awkward silence as Dr. Ryan shuffles through Buddy's thick chart and sits down. Dr. Ryan is primarily a researcher and not comfortable with patients.
What we found is rare. I sent it to a second lab for verification. An exon 7 deletion mutation on your second SMN gene copy. You're now presenting with an even rarer form of spinal muscular.
Great. I'll make the New England Journal of Medicine.
Laura whacks him in the thigh.
In fact, this gives you a significant better long-term prognosis.
Except
Dr. Ryan sifts through some papers on her desk. She's flustered by Buddy's glibness.
With your muscle loss, you should be in a wheelchair.
use it or lose it works for cripples too.
You say you've been falling more. How often?
2 times a week, 2 times a month if I use my crutches.
Why don't you use your crutches?
I'd like to do another blood test in 6 months.
She hands Buddy a piece of paper to take to the front desk for scheduling. This signifies the end of the visit.
Laura has one.
Do you have any questions?
Laura has a 1 in 40 chance of being a carrier. If you were a carrier, your children would have a 1 in 4 chance of having the disease. Would you like to do a blood test and find out?
Oh, no, I'm not going to have children. I mean, it's just that I'm here as a friend.
Oh, right. Well, any other questions?
On the Lower West Side, joggers and nannies push strollers past Laura and Buddy, walking arm in arm along the Hudson River.
You should be celebrating.
My whole life I was told I was going to die. I kept living and the doctors acted like it was my fault. I wasn't fitting into their statistics. Even now, it's see you for a blood test in 6 months.
She is a researcher, not a therapist.
You'd think she would want to know why I'm still walking, why I'm not in a wheelchair like the other subjects.
Because you're stubborn.
I'm like a Red Sox fan after winning the World Series. I don't quite know what to do.
Believe.
In the Gates of Heaven Cemetery, Laura holds Uncle Quinn's arm, unsteady walking amongst the grave mounds, or at the photo exhibit in the sanctuary of the church. We hear snippets of Buddy in the background recording on his cell phone to his.
Joel, you be Uncle Quinn.
I fixed their cigarettes.
Was Babe angry at the Sox?
They could curse, the Sox, just about everybody else.
What about in 1935 when he backed out of managing the Braves?
They made him famous and put him out to pasture. Boston just don't trust him to come back. The second win, the tireless soul, like we love the game. Now in New York, we love the tireless soul. That's what we have here in the Bronx. Creative, tireless soul.
They walk past photos of famous people from the Bronx, musicians, ball players, community organizers.
But do you think there is a real curse, Uncle Quinn?
You know what I think? If the fans and the media shut up the team, shut up. The team could just play.
What did the Babe think of Boston?
Uncle Quinn trips over a root and Laura holds him steady. He stoops down to pick up some dying flowers and puts them back in the grave. They come back to Babe Ruth's grave. It is a massive stone in the most scenic graveyard in Yonkers. Trinkets, pictures, and some voodoo items to break the curse adorn the gravestone.
Loved it. So you want to know what's the truth behind this curse? But let me tell you. It happened right over there, 161st Street. I was running errands for your grandpa, Babe. He was always in the bar with the baby. I overheard him make a drinking bet. Dave said if the Red Sox would lose until they learned teammanship, more important than money. I think that's what he said. And then he said this curse would only be broken. The Yankee fan fell in love with the Red Sox fan and switched teams for true love. First up, broken only by true love. That was a long time ago.
In the 161st Street bar at the Hotel Concourse in the Bronx, in 1935, Babe Ruth sits in a booth of a dim and smoky bar, carousing with the boys. A kid runs in with some cigarettes for Babe, and Babe gives him a $5 in return. The kid explodes with joy, and Babe ruffles his hat and gives him a pair of tickets to Yankee Stadium. The kid runs out in the street to meet a pack of his friends on the sidewalk. Back in the cemetery.
True love, right, Uncle Quinn. Come on, let's get you back. I'm sorry to drag you out here.
Laura steers Uncle Quinn back to the car where Buddy is still on the cell phone. She gives Buddy a dirty look and rolls her eyes in Uncle Quinn's direction. Uncle Quinn gets into the car, Laura drives.
No, really. I feel fine. It's all coming back to me.
In Laura's car, busy in traffic, Laura and Buddy are arguing in the car.
He probably shouldn't drink with his meds, but it's a nice fantasy.
So now you're going to bring in the witches, dousers, and soothsayers into Fenway? Maybe you should try the goat from Wrigley Field.
In the GBH editing room, Laura and Joni watch interviews.
What's wrong is I had this uncharacteristic yearning to mother him. It was nauseating. The doctor asked if I was going to have his child. She asked me to have a blood test. Why did she say that?
Instead of just appreciating his dimples, he freaked out because he might be in a wheelchair in a few years.
That's not fair. I just imagined myself with someone what's different. I don't want to take care of anyone.
It's not that he's asking you to get married. You can at least take him for the outdoorsman test. Isn't that how you know the last guy?
In the car wash, Laura and Buddy go through the car wash. Laura uses her yoga guided imagery.
just close your eyes. Think of shedding all the slime. Feel your true self shine through as you shed the dirt. Feel better?
I never felt dirty.
Where's the map?
On a campground by the Androscoggin River in New Hampshire, the boat rental guy, big and grizzly with a jolly face, gives them papers to sign.
You're hoping to get to the island tonight?
It's a bit of. See you.
It's a bit of a paddle with this wind. Oh, sorry. It's a bit of a paddle with this wind. You might want to put in a little lower.
We can do it. I've been there before.
Laura peruses the information on the walls.
20 years ago? Is there a place to camp if we don't get that far?
Lots of great places. Put your food up. Whispers. She's not using feminine protection, is she? Excuse me? You know, the smell of blood attracts bears. If she's having her monthly, stay out of the woods.
Yes, that is an interesting predicament.
Laura walks up to them with a pile of maps and guides. Guy passes them a bear alert pamphlet.
Great. Thanks.
Enjoy yourselves.
In the kayak, class 2 rapids, Laura steers anxiously from the back. Buddy is a calm, strong paddler.
More on your left. Look at the map again.
Buddy pulls the map out of the plastic.
Should be just around this bend.
You said that an hour ago.
We're supposed to be enjoying nature. You're always the one telling me to breathe.
Paddle. Stop relaxing so much. You're making me tense.
They continue in silence for several minutes. Buddy is peacefully watching the paddle cut through the water. She is paddling with determination.
That's it. The point on the map.
What? I don't see a tributary on the map. Are you sure? I think we should stay straight.
No, look right here. There's definitely a ray.
Laura puts her paddle down and moves to look at the map. The boat wobbles wildly.
We have definitely reached a dubious position.
Let's try my way for 15 minutes. If it doesn't feel right, then we'll backtrack.
If this doesn't feel right, we're going on feelings. We're lost. Okay. I trust you. I have no choice.
It's getting dark. Let's get to land, reassess, and check the compass.
You have a compass.
I found my way of drug-infested concerts in the 70s. Not to mention seedy clubhouses all over the Caribbean. I don't like to get lost.
Laura stands up in the canoe to get back to her seat. The canoe tips dangerously. She is caught off balance and falls overboard. Buddy pulls her back into the canoe. His arms are strong as they have not been as affected by his disease as his legs. In the woods near the Androscoggin River at dusk, Laura and Buddy set up their tent. She collects wood for a fire. It's almost dark. He stretches.
What you need are some good hip openers. Try this.
Laura attempts different yoga poses, dead bug pose, wrapping her arms under her thighs and pulling her knees toward her shoulder.
Great after a day in the canoe.
Buddy stretches out into tortoise pose, sitting with his legs off to the side, almost in a split and touching his head to the ground. He goes all the way down. His hips are incredibly open.
Wow. You're doing Karvasana. I can't do that.
I have no muscles holding me back. My quads are weak yet supple.
Gee, hidden talent. How strong are your arms? Try this.
Laura does crow pose. She's unsteady and unbalanced. He does this very difficult pose on the first try. Laura's shocked. He has passed all her tests. First the compass and now this. He falls backwards out of the pose and she catches him in her arms, pulls him to stand. But he gracefully maneuvers it to look like a dance move, dipping Laura back slightly with his strong arms. They dance a few steps, gazing at each other, and then kiss passion. By the tent campfire, we see the silhouettes of Laura and Buddy making love. Montage of Buddy falling during the day. Buddy falling in public places and at home, alone, in the supermarket, in the library, at a restaurant. Nobody is there to pick him up. Falling outside Fenway, Laura picks him up. Repeat the kayak scene where he pulls her out of the water. In the tent at night, they climax together. Laura is on top. She jumps up, banging her head on the middle tent pole.
Ah, leg cramp.
That's my line.
God, I can't feel my legs. My ears are ringing.
Is that a good sign?
Laura collapses on him, laughing, and they snuggle into their zip-together sleeping bags. On the campground during the day, Buddy stirs the oatmeal, adding raisins and nuts. Laura flosses on a walk.
love my yoga class. I had no idea you were so strong.
I can dance, I'm a real life boy.
Brady, I didn't mean it that way.
Laura silently flosses and walks on the log like a gymnast on a balance beam.
Funny what Uncle Quinn said.
Oatmeal's ready.
Buddy passes Laura her oatmeal and she continues to balance on the log while eating.
Do become a Red Sox fan. We win this.
Do you want raisins?
What if there is some truth to Uncle Quinn's story? My mom used to say the same thing. He
Tea?
said the curse could be broken if a Yankee fan falls for a Red Sox fan and switches teams for true love.
You're ruining the afternoon.
What? We could break the curse.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Exactly. You. Can't we just be together without your ulterior motives, without arguing? You want to break a curse you swear you don't believe in? You're being duped by your own prevarications.
don't use your brighter words with me.
I'm keeping my hat.
In Laura's bedroom, they climax together. Buddy feels for the condom, jumps out of bed, races for the bathroom, and falls flat. Laura braces her feet against his and helps pull him to the standing position. He's unsteady, she is strong. He darts to the bathroom.
The condom broke.
Buddy returns from the bathroom and gets under the covers. Laura stares at the candles illuminating them.
I could get pregnant.
Do you feel pregnant?
5 seconds pregnant. I've just never had a condom break.
Don't you think it's too early to have the what if we're pregnant conversation?
Or too late to have the, who have you slept with since your last STD check conversation?
And then there's the what if we're too genetically impaired to be bringing a child into this violent world conversation. Guess we better stay up all night, start the interview.
Jeez, I didn't think of that.
I think about it all the time.
I've never wanted to have a baby.
Buddy perks up in bed.
And now?
Nope. Momentary lapse of better judgment. I'm almost 40. You could, or how do you feel?
My kid would have a 1 in 4 chance of having the disease if I marry a carrier. 1 in 40 people are carriers. I decided I won't ever try. Never found anyone to take that chance with me.
At Laura's dad's house in the backyard, Laura's brother Ted is home from the Marines and the family is celebrating with a barbecue in Frank's backyard. Buddy arrives with a salad. Adjacent to the small yard is a large alley where the neighborhood ball games are played. Frank is at the grill with hot dogs and hamburgers.
Hey, Sebby, you're all the brothers, okay? You're Buddy, Ted, and Joey.
Buddy, this is my brother Ted.
Glad to have you back.
It's always good to come home when the Patriots are winning. Hey, what about the playoffs? And the beautiful New England colors.
Joey sneezes, wipes his hands on his pants, then extends it to Buddy.
Nice to meet you. I'm Joe. Laura was afraid to bring you home. You must not be a Red Sox fan.
I plead the fifth.
This is Jimmy. Danny's over there and Andy's not here yet. Will you be here for the game?
I'll call. He's on my team when he gets here.
Danny walks over to shake Buddy's hand. He pats him on the back so hard, Buddy almost loses his balance.
You can't do that. We're picking teams the regular way. Yeah, we'll wait for him.
Laura pulls Buddy toward the grill.
Meet my dad.
In the alleyway, Ted and Andy, the captains, pick teams. Ted picks Joey, Tommy, and Frank. Andy picks Jimmy, Danny, and Laura. After Laura's pick, she whispers to Andy to pick Buddy, but he picks Maggie to round out Team B. Buddy is left standing there, and he goes to Team A. The pickup game is in full swing. Bases are loaded, and Buddy comes up to bat. Laura's pitching.
I'll pinch run, okay?
I can run.
Whatever. I just thought we might want these guys to score. They got 2 outs.
Right. Okay.
Bases loaded. Everybody runs.
Buddy hits a double, and Ted runs for him. Frank and Tommy run home. The third runner, Joey, is stuck between third base and home. Danny comes in from the outfield to cover third. Maggie throws the ball to Laura, who chases her brother for the tag out just before he slides into home.
I would have made it. I tripped on the stupid base.
What? I tagged you fair and square. Besides, you ran out of the line.
Did not. Danny messed up. Danny messed up the base, or I would have made it.
You are such a cheater.
Okay, break it up. The inning's over. I'm calling the game for dessert. Let's crack open watermelon and chill out.
Everyone is grumbling as they collect their belongings and head back to the house. Laura gives Joey a playful head noogie with her mitt, and he sticks out his tongue and whacks her hardly. She goes off to find Bud.
I told you it would be rough.
Watch out for her. She can never lose an argument or a game.
Is that so?
Buddy knows how to lose. He's going to teach me.
Laura quickly walks away to grab 2 beers and some watermelon for Buddy and Ted, who are nearby. She talks to herself at the keg,
Did I say that?
returning to Ted and Buddy.
Want a beer?
Sure. Sorry. She's known for her fortitude, not her sensitivity.
Laura's grandmother has stopped by for dessert. She lives across the street. She finds Frank at the keg.
Is Laura seeing that man?
He's a sports writer from New York. In Boston on the 9/11 Sunday.
Franklin, is he Jewish?
Heck with that, mother. He's a Yankees fan.
Franklin, you will not let that girl marry a Jew. Oh, wait.
Laura can marry whomever she wants.
Danny joins them at the keg.
Even a Republican?
She's 40 for Christ's sake.
Do not use the Lord's name in this conversation.
Andy has been listening and saunters over.
But how about a woman? She could marry a woman now in Massachusetts.
Well,
Joey pours himself a beer.
Gotta
What?
consider, yeah, go ahead, Sebby.
Gotta consider it, Graham. A good Christian woman might be better than a Jewish man.
Laura marches over.
Are you talking about me?
Dad was just saying you could be a lesbian, marry a black Republican or a Jewish Cubs fan, but not a Yankees fan.
I'm not marrying anybody anytime now or ever, so you can stop with your ignorant comments.
Laura storms into the house.
Whoops.
Danny follows Buddy into the house after Laura.
Get away from me, Danny. It's not funny.
Buddy comes in and sits at her feet.
Sorry I invited you. I knew my family couldn't go 1 hour without embarrassing me.
What is really going on?
You don't get it. This is the kind of small-mindedness I'm trying to escape. Danny takes everything too seriously. Tommy thinks everything is funny. Joey thinks everything is black or white. My grandma can't see past your religion. Teddy can't see past your crutches. And Daddy can't see past your Yankee cap.
And you can't see what you're really afraid of.
Oh, please, share that with me.
We're not getting married. We don't have to have kids.
What are you talking about?
Maybe you're still freaked out about thinking you were pregnant. Or being with someone like me.
I'm not freaked out about having a kid because I'm not having a kid, period. I'm freaked out about bringing a kid into this friggin' scary world where we blow each other up in the name of God so that we don't have to pay $2 a gallon to drive our SUVs to the gym.
Laura, there are certain things that you can't control. Forget world peace. Think about inner peace.
You know, I don't pity you. I pity the pregnant teens whose choices are being whittled away, the poor whose social services are slashed with tax cuts for the rich, and whose governments send them off to fight for what?
You can't bumper sticker the world and make it better. Listen, you're a great director who can't take direction. And you just don't want to take care of anyone but yourself. It's okay.
All I've got is myself. I don't believe in the romantic notion of love. I don't believe in marriage. Nothing lasts.
Danny and Teddy skulk away.
This is not the neighborhood I want to bring kids into. 12-year-olds are shooting up right now in that alley we were just playing in. You're right. I don't want the responsibility. I don't want to end up like my mother, taking care of everyone else until it kills her. I don't want to be wiping up after snotty-nosed spoiled kids who scream in the mall because they can't have another Game Boy. I don't want to think about diapers or circumcision or confirmation or unsafe sex. Nothing is safe. If I can't make a difference in my small world, what makes me think I can bring a child into this world?
You're right. You can't see past your mother's death. I don't see past my disability. Does anybody?
Laura tries to control her sobbing and wipes her face.
Anyone can have a child like me. Anyone can die before their child grows up. But since I met you, being in love makes those fears vanquishable.
Vanquishable.
Laura can't keep a straight face. She bursts out laughing. Buddy joins in as the giggling becomes contagious.
May love conquer all. Maybe it can't. Can we live without knowing?
The reasonable one tries to change himself to the world, and the unreasonable one tries to change the world to himself.
Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable. George Bernard Shaw.
Buddy gently takes Laura's face in his hands.
You're the unreasonable. That's why you get so much done.
Are you ready to be unreasonable with me?
In the car wash, Laura pulls out of the car wash and drives around to the entrance again for the third time. She comes here to make all her big decisions. She hands $12 to the attendant.
Miss, your car isn't getting any cleaner. Want a deluxe? It has wash and polish. I'll get you the undercarriage.
Just another regular, please.
She shoves the money out of and closes the window. He shrugs. He stares at the list on her dash, pros and cons. There are way more cons. In the Cooperstown Museum, Laura and Buddy watch the screening of their documentary at the Baseball Hall of Fame. On the screen, in Bill Buckner's backyard, Laura and Buddy interview Buckner. Bill is at the barbecue with a beer in hand.
Mark, you're Buckner.
The day that ball went through my legs, my life changed. I spent years dodging the press, kicking myself in the butt. It was torture. Then I realized I'm only a human being, and it was that simple. And I got over myself. Come on now, we all have our faults, our curses, but we just have to get over ourselves, move on. Look at me now, I'm finally enjoying my retirement. I give life-changing motivational seminars, sign baseballs and tell stories to my grandkids.
In the Gates of Heaven Cemetery in Yonkers, Laura and Buddy meander around the gravestones on a misty gray day. The sun's last rays break through the clouds. Buddy uses 2 crutches now, more unsteady in his gait.
It's around here somewhere.
The cemeteries give you the creeps.
No, I love ghosts.
Hmm.
Oh my God.
Laura spots Babe Ruth's grave and picks up the pace. Buddy tries to keep up.
Isn't this the last place to be taking the Lord's name in vain?
Please. And you don't believe in the curse?
Laura kneels by the gravestone. There are flowers in various stages of decay and many mementos piled on the stone. Removing her baseball cap, she pulls a picture of herself and Buddy in a plastic frame out of her bag.
Believe in the big.
He's definitely moved on to greener pastures.
Dreamed about him and Lou in the locker room after Lou Gehrig Day. I've always wanted to write about that.
In a dream sequence at Yankee Stadium on Lou Gehrig Day in 1939, Babe and Lou in locker room after the ceremony.
Sebby, you're Babe.
Okay.
I'll be Lou.
Hey Buster, you did great out there. Whatever they say about me in the papers, you're the true hero in the real game of life.
I really feel like it. Finally, I do it all again. I'm the luckiest guy alive.
How come it takes till we're limping to realize it's not the glory, it's what you carry home in your heart that counts?
You knew it, Judge. You always got it.
No, I got it from you, Buster. You're the real thing. You're my hero.
Babe and Lou walk out of the clubhouse onto the field as workers pull the tarp across the lawn in a light drizzle. Babe puts his arm under Lou's and they stumble together into the misty rain. In the Gates of Heaven Cemetery,
I had a dream about Babe too.
Laura touches Babe Ruth's gravestone.
What happened?
Laura feels as if a weight has been lifted from her chest.
What did you say?
In your dream.
Back in the dream sequence, now at Fenway Park, Laura stands in left field in the dark and empty ballpark.
Started out as a chase dream. I was in some maze and finally I found this little door. It was the door under the scoreboard at Fenway. The green monster was towering behind me. The stadium was empty. I was still really lost. I saw Babe's face, almost like looking through the camera lens.
Black and white footage of Citizen Kane lips mouthing the words Rosebud, which then sound like right field.
I look up and the big sign lights up.
Words on the facade are, "Buddy, will you marry me?"
Then the green monster turned into a real monster and I woke up in a sweat.
Is this good or bad for our future prospects?
And if you believe in dreams.
At Fenway Park in 2004, Laura, Buddy, Emma, Lydia, Alexandra, and Natasha are sitting in seats up close. The Yankees have just beat the Red Sox 18-7 in the third game of the 2004 ALCS. Buddy looks at all of them.
Starting today, I'm now a Red Sox fan. I want the Red Sox to sweep the Yankees in 4 games, win the World Series, and break this curse. I can't root against my daughters anymore. Laura, I've loved you for all these years, hoping that we could be fans of the same team.
In a montage, we see historical footage of the Yankees losing the next 4 games. Roberts stealing second over Jeter, Ortiz hitting a home run, the Red Sox winning the World Series in 4 games against the Cardinals, and the montage. In Fenway at night in the present day, Laura pushes Buddy in his wheelchair into the Fenway stands. They chat about how much fun they've had over the last 30 years, raising their 4 daughters on baseball. Buddy is wearing a Yankees pinstripe jersey, but a Red Sox hat. Other fans laugh and give him a thumbs up and a thumbs down simultaneously. They plop into seats in the front row, singing along to Shipping Up to Boston by the Dropkick Murphys.
I love being both a Yankee and Red Sox fan in Fenway. Just like I love the Babe. I love this rivalry.
You did change teams for love. But love for your kids. Not me, so I can still be bitter and tell you to throw that Yankee junk away.
Never. Without the Yankees, you don't have the Red Sox. Without the Sox, you don't have the Yankees.
At Fenway Park in 2004, Big Papi comes to bat. Buddy takes off his Yankee cap and replaces it with a Red Sox cap to the delight of his 4 dogs.
Dad, are you sure you want to switch?
Yeah, Dad, you sure you want to switch?
Time to end the curse.
Suddenly, the Sox start to rally. Yankees, once ahead 3-0, lose ground as Papi hits a homer to win the game. Robert steals second. Mariano gives up a double. Red Sox beat the Cardinals in the World Series. There's a celebration in Boston. At Fenway in 2022, pan from the ball rolling on the ground to the wheels on Buddy's wheelchair to Buddy wearing a Yankee cap. Daughter Louisa, 5. Granddaughter throws a pitch to Lou.
Great pitch, Lou. Strike.
She got your arm.
4 hands together on Babe Ruth statue. Buddy feeds Laura a Baby Ruth bar as she sits on his lap in a wheelchair. She can't stop laughing long enough to chew, and she sprays bits all over.
The facts are, the same year that I started to believe again, the Red Sox played like I always knew they would. I found true love the same year the Red Sox found the spirit of the Babe.
Laura, Buddy, Emma, Lydia, Alex, and Natasha in an empty Fenway Park point to the facade in right field where the retired numbers hang. Even though we retired first, Ted Williams' number 9 was suspiciously placed last after the facade was painted. Suddenly, the ghost of Ruth comes out of the green monster wearing a Red Sox uniform as he did in 1950.
Thank you for breaking the curse that I put on this team. I grew up in Boston and my life was all about the Red Sox. So it killed me to be sold to the Yankees. It was good for my future and my wallet. And I couldn't stand fucking phrase. Frizzy. I loved my Yankees, but I miss my Sox. And now I can rest in peace. Thank you.
Babe disappears, fade out.
Bravo.
Woo!
Careful.
Marina, what do you think? Marina, you there?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks everyone for reading. It was great to hear it.
What are your thoughts, my dear?
I'm not going to give them right now. Are you kidding me? I just heard it. I have to sleep on this.
No, come on. You got to give your thoughts. This is a real reading of our
No,
play.
I don't. I wrote this thing 20 years ago and I don't have to do anything. And
Touche.
you're there, so you all talk about it and we'll talk tomorrow.
All right, we'll talk about it. I want to start by just acknowledging Buddy and Laura.
Thank you.
guys did great.
And Sebi, I want to thank Sebi.
Sebi, but Babe Ruth all the way.
You got the part, Sebi.
You're
I don't
in.
know which part, but you got
the
one
part,
part.
for sure. And Nick for polishing and working so hard on this. Thank you, Nick. You did a great job reading. Nick, I'd love for you to reflect on what we do from here. Because you are now a real-time director, writer with your first film, and you're gonna direct this with me. So let's go. What are we gonna do next?
I think we should do the stage version, honestly. I think, because to shoot an actual film version of this, we would have to go into Fenway Park, would have to hire, full cast of people to go, or a whole crew to go film that, which would be dramatically expensive and dramatically complex to do. Whereas if we can go do it on stage first, it's gonna be a lot easier to like attract attention and attract enough interest to go do that. So I think that's a good start, but even doing that means probably adjusting the script somewhat, figuring out how to actually do this on stage. Like, how do you suggest Fenway without bringing in a whole crowd of people? I've never directed a play, so I don't know about that, but I'm sure there's a good way to do it.
Yeah, Marina, what do you think of our first step being a stage play? To get feedback, to build an audience.
Yeah, that sounds great.
You like that?
Yeah.
Adrian, I want to hear what you thought. I'm sure you went to, is Adrian gone for a second? Yeah, we'll get her on the way back. Joel, you're the lawyer of this group. What do you think? What's the next step?
And some plots similar to Nick in that if we were filming, kept saying, wow, there's lots of licensing that needs to be done. Quite expensive. Getting releases from some people,
Right,
you're gonna portray their name, so you use a lot of real people
right.
referenced in this funny, so.
So you have to get licenses from all the people you use?
If you're using their names to exploit the project commercially, which they might argue you're doing,
Huh?
you would need to get a release, say, yeah, it's okay, otherwise, say, hey, you're using my name, big copy, upsell your picture,
Got it,
so it would be making some concern.
got it. Did you hear that, Sevi, what he said? Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
So Joel, introduce yourself again now that you've said that, so people understand who you are.
Yeah, my name's Joel Shane, lawyer, I work a lot in the entertainment industry, I've worked with Artemis for quite some time, I worked on the seas. Trying to develop projects. So I know licensing can be very expensive. And especially if you want to get all rights. Could, for example, if you were doing a lower budget picture, just get festival rights, see whether you get traction,
Mm.
then get full rights. Because people don't like your married for them. In perpetuity, all languages and all media throughout the world. Yeah, so I'm looking at these various film clips. Again, you get a version of Nina Simone. The spell on you, again, not the cheapest running. When it comes to music, you need two rights there, the underlying song
Mm.
and the master that you're using as well. A lot of things, Nick, again, I don't know if I'm going to do the physical breakdown. Probably the part, really expensive, so. We ever saw the movie, The Love of the Game.
Hmm.
Ron Sheldon picture, I believe, with Kevin Costner. They actually hired a bunch of people for the extras, and they did you CGI double them. They also used some fake.
Hmm.
Fill the seat.
Mhm.
It gets pretty expensive.
Yeah.
To do it well, and low budget movies, our standards are based on what we've seen on TV. We expect, verisimilitude. We look accurate, and you have a lot of jumps in time too. Well, it's current time, so I could just see very expensive, it's gonna take some narrative.
Mhm.
And then I envision someone who like some entity that for to finance the picture. One or some entity might say, here's your budget, now go make this picture this amount of money.
Yeah.
May not be sufficient to license all the clips to recreate 1970s, 1980s. Those are just some like practical.
Very good thoughts. Thank you, Joel. Sebi, as the youngest member of our crew, what do you think? How did you think the show?
Yeah, I mean, the script is really well written and I like a lot of the things in it. I've been in like, I think I just finished my 11th or 12th show, like musical. So yeah, I feel like this could really work as a play on stage.
Excellent. Will you join us? Will you be on a part of our cast?
Of course, yes.
Right.
You can turn it into a musical. But it'll,
We can make it into a musical.
Yeah.
yeah.
Goodbye, you guys. Thank you for being part of it. Joel, nice to see you. So Joel and company are leaving. Thank you, Joni. You were great. Thank you, policeman. There we go. Andy, what did you think as an observer of your dear friend Artemis and all the shenanigans we went through? What do you think of the story?
Oh, I think it's a marvelous, not just, you know, sports story, but it's a marvelous love story. And it brings in so many of the little niggling issues we all deal with every day, but in the context of a much bigger rivalry, right? A much greater historical rivalry. I love the dialogue. I love the banter. I love the subtle, cheeky little social commentary. Marina did a great job as well, pulling in so many great references that are still relevant today. I mean, very relevant. Probably better on stage. I agree. I think it would work better as a, you know, as a theater piece than a, you know, big production movie piece, at least in this format. So yeah, I think it's beautiful. It's beautifully written.
Brother, thank you. So I open the floor to anyone else who would like to comment. Marjorie? Just share your voice so they can hear you on the. As a stage play.
It's very talk. So, and if I were gonna see scenes in the ball field, I would agree, but I would just use the theater.
Brilliant.
We want the money to get done. Just go right to
Right. Can you just repeat the last part for Nick's benefit?
think about scale. Things like scale.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Sophia, yeah,
You know, West Side Story. There are so many.
yeah.
things that could be wrote, but I don't think one is the other, but I think it would be a first.
Yeah. Beautiful.
When you say that.
And introduce yourself.
I know Hawaii's friend of ours, with the state. Yeah, so when you talk about imagining the stage itself become stadium. I think that really works well because it involves the audience. You can even expand on it. Yeah, but then also kind of use laser to create feeling projecting on the walls. Theater, now you're in Fenway Park.
Right. That's right.
The audience is transporting back and forth as part of the play. To take a technical step, and all these images and fields and the old players, I think would be done easily.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Marina, did you hear that? And Sebi and Andy, did you hear that? I'm glad. So, yeah, so what he basically said is that you could use the actual theater as a baseball stadium. And then when you're in Yankee Stadium, you see Yankee Stadium, and when you like a projection of it. So you
Yeah.
can go from one scene to another very easily. Is that what
Right.
you said?
That's what I said, and
Yeah.
the audience would feel a part of it,
And the audience would feel part of it.
experience the settings and live the yin and yang of the-
Yeah. Lovely. God, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that. Adrian, what do you think? You have known Marina for a long time. You know her banter. What was the highlight for you? And what do you think we need to work on? First thoughts, beautiful. Paxton, you read Buddy. You know Marina and I, you know the story, basically. You're wearing a Cubs jersey and a Red Sox jersey.
Yeah, baby, two longest curses of all time. Let's go.
There we go. So what do you think?
I have had a blast playing Buddy. I have to say. Hold on, I've got the Zoom audio in my ear. Let me turn this down. I was listening to everything you guys were saying the whole time I was gone. I loved it. I thought it was like the perfect mix of like profound and funny. I think it'd make a great rom-com.
What's the rom-com?
Romantic comedy.
Oh, rom-com. Yep.
And yeah, it was funny when I went downstairs, I was talking to Alex, she was like, the perfect thing for like Netflix, like a Netflix rom-com. Obviously that would be a higher budget. I really like the idea of doing a play first and getting some publicity with that. 'Cause that's a much less expensive operation. And then you could say, hey, we want to adapt this into a film and get some funding from Netflix or
Yeah.
Amazon or someone.
Yeah.
And it's be fantastic. Ron.
Yeah, I thought, by the way, you and Laura, you and Adrian
She's too good.
were a great compliment. And there was actually some chemistry that happened between the two of you that I was surprised to hear. Because I'm not normally reading this with Marina, so it's about us, and it's really a story about us in many ways. But hearing two other people read it, it came alive for me. You were phenomenal.
Yeah,
you
you-
killed it. Really, you're really good. And I want you to star in the opening of the play, I think you were amazing. Sorry, no offense to you.
No, I agree. She was far better than I was.
No, you were good. I was surprised, actually. So, other comments, Brenda?
I'd like to know how Laura has 4 kids starting at age 41.
Well, that would be, yes. It happened in that time frame, but we wanted to make the breaking of the curse a surprise. You think it's about he and she, but it really becomes about the kids. Those are her kids, so it's clear that she had kids earlier. We got that part mixed up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it really was, these are her children too. But he did not take off the Red Sox hat. But he didn't put the Yankee hat off until he couldn't root against his children. So that's the true love. And that's a true story. All of it's true. I was there with my kids when the Yankees won 18-7. And I'm gloating and they're all crying. And I'm like, I can't root against my kids anymore. And that actually happened. So I switched teams and then they won and the rest is history.
So were you-
I broke it. Yeah, Sebi.
Sebby has
Yeah.
a point. What do you want to say?
So, I like 3 weeks ago, I went to a festival in Indiana, and there was a musical called Damn Yankees,
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I love that show.
And it was really well done, and they like, it's a baseball show, and like you said, they use the audience for like the field and like the locker room, and everything was like really well done, and like the different aspects of the baseball field and like part of it that they used were really well done, and I feel like, yeah, again, like it could work as a show.
That is a brilliant idea. I've heard it's a great play, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
But it does have similarities, doesn't it? All right, will you consult with me, Sebi, on that?
Yeah.
And actually, Sebi, I don't know whether you'd be interested, but I'd like you to take the script and edit it as a play,
Okay.
all right?
Yeah, I can look into that.
You can
Yeah.
turn it.
So, yeah. Yeah, so you're part of the writing team now, all right? All
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely. And all I want to do is I want to hang out in Fenway with Paxton again.
That's right. Let's make it happen.
You have no idea what impact that weekend had on my boys.
I love that.
It wasn't,
Let's do it again.
it wasn't just about being at Fenway. It was about being at Fenway with Paxton.
Yeah, baby.
They loved it.
Yeah.
Tell the story, Andy, tell the story how that happened. So last summer, Andy Andy and I grew up in Hong Kong together. He then went to college in America, got his law degree, and then moved back with his family. All his children were born in Hong Kong and lived in Hong Kong. Last year, they came home for the first time. And Sevi is a theater person, and your brother is a baseball player. And their dream was to go to Fenway Park, and we would all go together. So we got the best seats in the house. It was a weekend series with you-know-who, the New York Yankees. We didn't just go to one game. We went to 3 games in 4 days. And Paxton was there the whole time. He was like, made sure that, see, the first game, we had the best seats in the house, which is, 1 game. But they wanted to come back again to the grandstand. So of course, Paxton was their chaperone.
Grandstands, yes, sir.
So tell the story, Sebi. What was it like for you to go with Paxton?
It was so like, cause I've never been to a Yankees Red Sox game, and it was such a surreal experience. And I just remember the crowd being so into the game, and being out in the outfield is a lot different than right behind home plate, because everybody's like standing up, really into it, and just cheering as loud as they can.
Absolutely.
Oh, and I get into it when I go to soccer.
He gets into it. He's pretty animated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game, I wore my Red Sox shirt, this shirt, with my Yankee jersey. And my Red Sox hat and my Yankee hat, and people are looking at me like, are you crazy? What's going on with you? And I'm like, I love both teams. They're like, no, you can't. I mean, one guy was ready to punch me when
Oh, yeah, I remember this. He was mad.
He was mad. Don't mess with us. You don't mess with us.
Well, you cannot be a Yanks fan and a Sox fan. The Yankees get out of the stadium.
That's right. We're gonna kill you.
But the other great moment from last summer is when you wanted to spread your mother's ashes on the field. And we were very late coming in from the handicap section. We could only come in under the Green Monster after the national anthem had been sung. So
No, it was very.
I think it was right after. But anyway, we came down full packed Fenway Stadium with Artemis pushing Artemis, Sebi Shea and his mom's ashes down the third baseline.
Getting all over third base, all the ashes.
Right. And there's Mike Trout getting ready
Oh,
to.
that was.
That was against the Angels. Yeah, it was another.
No,
another game.
that was years before. There's the Orioles. Only one.
We gotta go.
Oh, maybe you're right. Anyway, so it
Any
was
thoughts before you go?
this time.
Sure.
He grew up a Yankees fan. I grew up.
Oh, you're the opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, it was.
And the Yankees only won when I was a kid.
It was easier being a Yankee fan in those days.
When I went to Boston in my freshman year in college, was the year of the Impossible 3.
Right.
I became
Now, what did you think as a pulmonologist and expert on neurology? How did we get the SMA story?
Fine.
Fine, all right.
Not a geneticist, so.
You're not, was it too much SMA? Or,
The story.
yeah. Yeah,
I was gonna say, add some singing and dancing and make them blood.
there we go. There we go. Good.
It is a feeling. Laura and.
Buddy.
Buddy. Oh.
Yeah, Paxton and Adrian.
That's okay. So, yeah, the guys were great. Thank you. Got some chemistry going.
Maybe I'll want you to drive with me.
Sure, that had along with the number of switchbacks.
Yeah.
Got a little.
Right.
It would not play well on stage,
Right.
but,
It'd work better
I
in
don't
the
think it would be a big problem to scoop it out.
I agree.
And.
Chris, guys, I gotta run. I gotta go get a quick,
By the way, the scene of me spreading the ashes, we will do in the, we're gonna put that into the script.
that's for the sequel, Or
actually, maybe Laura takes her mother's ashes, if she's, and spreads them on the field. That would be a Laura thing to do. That's a full cycle, right? That's great.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you were outstanding. Honor and pleasure, really.
The name is Adrian. No, I'm honored to be Laura.
Thank you. Debbie,
Well,
did anything confuse you from the story? No, you're good. It was all clear.
Yeah,
Good. And then you had never read it before until tonight, right?
no,
Love it. You did such a good job, Dan.
thank you. Yeah,
Very, 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 very proud of you. Very
thank you
proud.
so much for letting me read.
Oh, my God, we are thrilled. Not letting you read. You are a star.
Thank you.
That's being star. All right, we'll let you guys go.
Okay.
Good night. Love you.
Debbie, always a pleasure.
How old is he?
Come back to Boston and go to a game.
Of course, can't wait. See you
All
guys.
right, good. Okay, bye.
How old is he?
How old are you, Sebi?
We can.
13, maybe?
13,
Because
yeah.
I'm the only one still in here. And
Yeah.
Great.
Well, that was great. How are you guys?
thanks for.